and you've got all good things progressing. Isn't that the thing that should be making us happy? I think progress is the essence of happiness. Yeah, here's also happiness, kids toys. We used to have a living room. Now we have a playroom upstairs by the fireplace. Yeah, this is emblematic to our lives right now. Many of you have been tracking um, Joe and Miss Becky building the cabin, and just spending a lot of time kind of working through the grit and the grind of creating something, building something with our hands. And there's something I think just therapeutic about being able to, after a full day, where you know you're going to sleep really, really well that night, but being able to look and go, huh, progress, huh? Well, when's the last time you actually were able to do that in your work, in your most important work, right? Yeah. So, a quick question before you scroll past this: when's the last time you finished a work day, just knowing, not hoping, actually knowing that something changed because of you? Yeah, because of you, not because you managed a meeting well. Although that's important, not because maybe the board stayed calm during a tense situation, and not because you kept another initiative from dying quietly on a Tuesday. Something actually moved from to do to done, something you can point to and say, I helped to make it. I helped to make that. It doesn't happen nearly enough. And that's the stuff that puts the good chemicals really in our blood, that keeps us chugging along. And yeah, to the extent that our communities deserve. If you had to think longer than maybe 3 seconds to answer that, stay with me. You're allowed to feel that. Every superintendent, every president that I work with carries this. You're not alone in it. And more importantly, it's not a character flaw. It's not like you're not motivated. So in the next few minutes, just drop something in the comments that says, to the extent, yeah, I'm leaning in. I'm leaning in. Here's what I see everywhere. I work with educational leaders right now. Many of them are superintendents. Many of them are college presidents, and many of them are now in budget season. Right? They're brilliant. They're credentialed. They're deeply committed people. Many 20 plus years, right, of deep experience, who can't remember the last time they felt like they were actually doing something. These aren't public displays of frustration. They're just the intimate moments. They're the chats, the phone calls, the quiet one-on-ones. It's not busy. There's plenty of busy. Something else. It's something harder to name and put words to. They move things around. They manage the temperature in the room. Excellent at just working the room. And they translate decisions into language different people can really tolerate. Because isn't that what leadership is? It's moving people along at the pace that they can tolerate. I don't know if that's Wikipedia's definition, but I think it's a pretty accurate definition. It's somewhere around the third cabinet meeting of the month, right? They realize, I don't know if any of this actually is making anything. Does that sound familiar? I don't even have to ask that question, because this is happening to over 70% of leadership teams that we've connected with, and we've also done panel research around. I've worked with higher performing systems that are, functioning on the outside of that, but most are quite hollow on the inside. But here's what most people aren't saying or telling you or writing in their, columns. This isn't a motivational problem. It's really an architectural problem. It's an infrastructural problem. You didn't drift from your work because you stopped caring. You went into this profession because you cared deeply. And much of it is so much a part of the mission and the calling. You drifted because the organizational distance, just that proximity between you and the material of your work grew. It just grew so wide that feedback loop between effort and meaning It just barely exists anymore. Anybody feeling this? Yeah, and if you don't fix this week, I'm not saying after the budget season, okay? I'm saying this week, your engagement is going to continue to slide. Your cabinet members are going to mirror the behaviors out of your office. I promise, because macro culture, that's the stuff that you build, boss, right? It leaks across your executive team to the extent that 60% capacity. That's what we're getting right now when we take the temperature of teams. I guess we don't take the temperature here, do we? That's just, that's like, yeah, still beaten. Yep, that's good. No, 60%. That is the average performance potential that we're seeing across our systems. It's not a time management problem. So it's not about throwing another stick in the spokes, right? You have a meaning crisis. I would just say it's more of a meaning crisis with a calendar probably wrapped around it, right? So here's a framework. I want to talk to you about the maker keeper audit, and this has gained some traction recently in some of the talks that I've given. And once you run it, you're going to go, should have done that 20 years ago. So the first one is just the maker audit, making, that's directly rearranging something towards something better. Okay, a conversation that maybe changed the direction of an initiative, maybe a question at a cabinet meeting where it just reframed the whole problem. You were in contact with the actual material of the work, and something exists differently because you were there, boss. Isn't that the best definition of influence? When you're not there, things can't move, right? And when you don't have enough making, honestly, you feel competent but empty, and it's a simultaneous thing, right? Excellence at the role. You've proven yourself, boss, but you kind of lost that thread of the work, right? And if you do that year after year after year, it might lead to a confidence issue where getting brought back into the work might have to put that wall of self-preservation up that says, yeah, we know what that smells like. The second one, so you've got making. Second one is keeping. This is maintaining the conditions. The conditions. Think about how important conditions are to your culture of your organization. The conditions for your people to do their best work. This is where you're removing obstacles. You're protecting thinking time. You're ensuring that everybody has time to focus. Had a conversation yesterday with an executive team that I said, if you're not gunning towards 20% of your week, month towards focus time, you're going to remain more busy than you are brilliant. Let that soak in. Yeah. So there's making, there's keeping. There's a third. Number 3 is the neither column. Right? It's just the emails that exist to document that an email was sent, and the calendar management that becomes kind of your full-time job within the full-time job, right? The pre-meetings about the meetings and the reporting about the reporting. Neither isn't leadership. No, neither is organizational friction, wearing a professional costume. That's what it is. And if that stung, hope it did privately. Yeah, here's where it's probably going to get uncomfortable. When I run this audit with teams, the average neither column is 40 to 60% of their work week. Do this math right now. Just do some math, simple math. 50-hour work week, and you're laughing. 50 hours, Joe. Yeah, 50 hours. Let's just say 50% neither. That's 25 hours, if my math is correct. Take that times 52 weeks. It's a little over 1,000 hours annually. Now take your salary and divide by 2,080. And then multiply by that 1,300. For most superintendents and presidents, it's in anywhere from $45,000 to $90,000 of your annual compensation producing nothing you actually care about. The nothing category, the neither category. That's not a time management problem. That's a meaning crisis with a specific dollar amount that kind of points to, how bizarre it actually is. I watched a president, we'll call her Sandra, not Sandra, Sandra. It's not a real name, but she ran this audit for the first time, and her neither column was 61%. She didn't say anything for about 30 seconds. And then she said, I've been managing a role for 3 years. I haven't been doing the work. Ba-ba. I think just self-awareness is so important. Very successful leader. But we just get kind of washed, don't we? We get just kind of washed into the norms of neither. She restructured her calendar within a week. 6 months later, her cabinet engagement scores went up. Something in the 25 to 29%. Same people, different architecture. That's what it was all about. That's the maker keeper audit. So here's the difference. Immature leaders are going to treat meetings, just meaning a loss is just a private problem to manage. Well, your meaning issues, deal with it with your therapist, right? The mature leaders are going to recognize that it's really a team capacity crisis in slow motion when you think about it. So immature leaders are going to measure the impact by calendar density. Yeah. And maybe even show up with my one-on-one report that talks about all of my activities for the month. But the mature leaders, they're going to measure impact by how much making and keeping they can point to at the end of the week, end of the month, end of the year. You're not an immature leader, so stop leading like one. We need more of the right kind, boss. Right? Imagine next Friday when you can actually point to what moved across your organization. Maybe a conversation that reframed a problem your team has been just stuck or circling on. Maybe a cabinet meeting where the collective intelligence in the room was just much higher than any individual in it. It's so much about the team today. And it's the most exciting time to be in education. But the reality is, we're trying to find the perfect leader to help transform the organization. It's never going to happen. You got to find the right ones that are going to build the team to change a broken system. It's only the team's impact that can make it happen. There's no such thing as a leader, right? That has the anything to make that happen. So yeah, let's make sure that we've got more of the right kind of leaders that are building the right kind of teams to refit the systems that our communities certainly deserve. So the builders, that's what you are. They don't wait for the calendar, to clear up to do this kind of work. They create the conditions for meaningful work inside the complexities and just the stuff of every week, right? So the question isn't whether you can. The question is whether you will, right? So here's your move. 15 minutes. That's all it's going to take you. Open your last 2 weeks, your calendar. Open that calendar, last 2 weeks, every meeting, every email thread, every conversation. Write it down. And then put it into 3 columns: making, keeping, and neither. And then step 3, calculate. Do the calculations, the percentages. Do the dollar math, right? Write the numbers down. Not as punishment. This is not a shameful exercise. This is really permission to protect what actually matters. That's the mindset. Yeah, that's it. 3 steps, 15 minutes, 0 excuses. You might be saying, Joe, I really don't have 15 minutes. Like you don't. You're spending an estimated $60,000 a year on neither. You have a meeting on your calendar right now that is a neither. I guarantee, go look right now. And if it's not there today, flip forward to tomorrow. You don't have time not to do this. So here's how we go deeper. So option 2, just message me directly. If you're a little bit confused by this and just need a little bit more of a nudge, I do virtual coffees every day with leaders, working through these exact problems. They're interference within the system. Your potential is just being knocked down day in and day out. This isn't about a pitch. It's a real conversation about what you're building and where you're stuck. So you can comment below right now. What's your neither percentage? If you think about your calendar today, what was your neither percentage? As you look at what it was on Monday, what's your neither percentage? Take a guess. If you haven't run it yet, your honesty probably gives some other people watching permission to face theirs. So that's what we need. We need more results-based leaders that are honest about their current reality. And if this hit home, share with the cabinet. Tag a leader, a friend, colleague, to say, watch. This is about genuine connection. We don't have all the right answers, but sometimes we have answers that are just kind of at the right time. So they deserve to know that you've noticed them. So, boss, you took this job. You know it because something about the work just grabbed you. It grabbed you right here. That something is still there. You know it. And the audit just helps you find your way back to it. That's it. So, my challenge, build like a champion today. Come on. Build like a champion today. You know why? It's not because you deserve it. You deserve to get home on time to your family for dinner. That's what they deserve. But your community deserves it. Everyone in every community deserves to be served by healthy teams and highly reliable systems. So, tag, you're it. Peace, friends. I hope you're doing really, really well.